The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss and stepped onto the metal platform of station. She wore no armor. She carried no weapon. Her clothes were simple, a dark gray uniform with the Earth Coalition symbol on her shoulder. Her black hair was tied back in a neat ponytail, and her face showed no expression. She looked like someone going to an office, not someone walking into one of the most dangerous diplomatic zones in the known galaxy. Station was a meeting place for many species. Some came to trade, some came to make peace, and some came to watch and wait like predators watching prey from the tall grass. The station floated in neutral space, far from any planet or government. Here, the rules were simple: no fighting inside, but trust no one. Was the first human to visit in 3 years. The last human delegation had come with soldiers, weapons, and armored suits. They had acted like they were entering a war zone. The aliens had laughed at them behind their backs and called them the scared ones. This time Earth sent only. She walked down the long corridor toward the main hall. The walls were made of a dark metal that reflected the blue lights above. Her footsteps made soft sounds on the floor. She did not hurry. She did not slow down. She just walked at a steady, calm pace. The main hall was large and round, with a high ceiling that showed the stars through a glass dome. Hundreds of aliens filled the space. Some stood in groups, talking in languages that sounded like clicks, growls, and whistles. Others sat at tables, eating strange foods and drinking from tall glasses. The air smelled like a mix of metal, spice, and something sweet that could not name. When she entered, the room did not go silent. That would have been too obvious, but something changed. Conversations became quieter, eyes turned toward her, bodies shifted. They noticed her first. They were tall creatures, almost 2 meters high, with gray skin and 4 arms. Their heads were flat and wide, with eyes on the sides like a shark. They were known across the galaxy as perfect hunters. On their home world, they had hunted every other species to extinction. They were proud of this. They wore the bones of their prey as jewelry. 3 stood near the entrance. When walked past them, all 3 took a step backward. They did not plan to do this. Their bodies just moved on their own like a reflex. One of a male named felt his heart's beat faster. He did not understand why. The human was small. She had no claws, no fangs, no armor. Her muscles were thin. She looked weak, but something in his ancient brain screamed at him, danger. Did not look at she did not need to. She knew they were watching her. She could feel their eyes on her back like cold fingers. But she kept walking, steady and calm, toward the center of the hall. Ambassador was waiting for her there. He was a Korean man in his 50s, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had lived on station for 5 years, working to build relationships with alien species. He had seen many strange things in that time, but nothing had prepared him for what he saw now. As walked through the hall, every predator species moved away from her. The stepped back. The small, fast creatures with too many teeth scattered like fish avoiding a shark. Even the massive beings with armored shells and crushing claws turned their bodies away from her path. Watched this with wide eyes. He had seen these species act aggressive toward humans before. He had seen them laugh at human weakness, mock human technology, and threaten human diplomats. But now they were acting like prey. Stopped in front of him and gave a small bow. "Ambassador," she said, Earth sent me to observe the negotiations." Bowed back, his mind still trying to understand what he had just seen. "Welcome to station," he said. I must ask, what did you do?" "I walked," said simply. "No, I mean, the aliens, they moved away from you. I have never seen that before. Especially, they fear nothing. They have said many times that humans are soft and weak." Looked around the hall. She saw the watching her from a distance. She saw the hiding behind tables. She saw the pretending not to look at her. "They are predators," she said. "All of them. They hunt, they kill, they eat flesh. It is in their blood, in their bones, in their history." Yes, said, so why do they fear you? Turned her dark eyes back to the ambassador. There was something in those eyes that had not noticed before, something patient, something that watched and waited. Because they can see what I am, said, and they know what it means. Before could ask another question, a loud voice filled the hall. It was the who had stepped away from earlier. He pushed through the crowd and stopped a few meters away from her. Human, he growled. His voice was deep and rough like stones grinding together. You come here alone, no weapons, no armor, no guards. Do you think you are brave, or are you just stupid? The hall went quiet. Everyone watched. This was the moment they had been waiting for. They were always the first to test new visitors. It was their way of showing power. Looked at, she did not smile. She did not frown, she just looked. I do not think I am brave, she said. Her voice was calm and clear. I am just here to observe. Laughed, but there was no humor in it. Observe. You humans always say that, but I know what you really are. You are weak. Your bodies are soft. Your senses are dull. You cannot run fast. You cannot fight well. You need machines to survive. That is true, said. We are not fast. We are not strong. Our senses are not as sharp as yours. Smiled, showing his many teeth. Then you admit it, you are prey. Tilted her head slightly. It was a small movement, but something about it made smile disappear. No, she said, we are not prey, we have never been prey. She took one step toward him, just one small step. His body tensed, his forearms pulled close to his chest, his eyes went wide. He did not step back, but he wanted to, every part of him wanted to run. What are you? He whispered. Did not answer. She just stood there, watching him with those dark, patient eyes, the eyes of something that had hunted for a very, very long time. Watched the exchange with his mouth open. He had studied alien species for 20 years. He knew their behaviors, their cultures, their fears, and he had never seen anything like this. One of the galaxy's most feared predators was afraid of a small human woman with no weapons. And the strangest part was that was beginning to understand why. 3 days passed on station. Attended every meeting, every negotiation, every gathering. She sat in corners and watched. She walked through corridors and observed. She ate in the common halls and listened. She never raised her voice. She never made threats. She never showed anger or fear. And every predator on the station avoided her. Ambassador noticed it first in small ways. When entered a room, they would suddenly remember they had business elsewhere. When she walked down a corridor, they would press themselves against the walls to let her pass. When she sat at a table, they would find another place to eat. It was not obvious. These species were too proud to show open fear, but their bodies betrayed them. They moved away. They looked away. They spoke more quietly when she was near. Had never seen anything like it. On the 4th day, he found standing at a window, looking out at the stars. The observation deck was empty except for them. Most species avoided this area when was nearby. May I ask you something? Said. Nodded without turning around. Of course. What is happening here? I have lived on this station for 5 years. I know these species. They are hunters, they fear nothing. They are pack predators. They attack anything that seems weak. They have armor that can stop plasma fire, but all of them. They act different around you. Was quiet for a moment, then she turned to face him. What do you know about Earth's history, Ambassador? Frowned. I know the basic facts. Humans evolved on a medium-sized planet. You developed technology. You spread to the stars. Before that, said. Before technology, before cities, before farming, how did humans survive? Thought about it? I am not sure. Humans are not very strong compared to other Earth animals. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. That is correct, said. Early humans had nothing. We were slow. We were weak. We could not fly. We could not swim well. We could not climb as fast as other animals. And yet we survived. We did not just survive, we became the top predator on our entire planet. Hal asked. His dark eyes met his. We followed. Followed. When we hunted, we did not chase our prey and catch it quickly like other predators. We were not fast enough for that. Instead, we followed. We walked after our prey hour after hour, day after day. The animal would run, it would escape. It would think it was safe. Then it would see us again, still walking, still coming. It would run again, and again, and again. Look back at the stars. Most animals cannot sweat like humans. When they run, their bodies get too hot. They have to stop and rest. But humans can walk and run for hours without overheating. So we just kept coming. The prey would run until its body failed, until its heart gave out, until it could not move anymore. And then we would arrive and kill it. Felt something cold move through his chest. That sounds terrible. It was effective, said simply. This is called persistence hunting. We did not need claws or fangs. We did not need speed or strength. We just needed patience. Time was our weapon. We could follow anything anywhere until it died of exhaustion. But that was millions of years ago, said. Humans do not hunt like that anymore. No, we do not, agreed. But the instinct is still there, in our eyes, in the way we move, in the way we watch. Other predators can sense it. They know what we are even if they cannot explain it. Was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, they are afraid of you because their instincts tell them I am dangerous, finished. They evolved as ambush predators. They attack quickly and kill quickly. They are not used to something that does not attack at all, something that just watches and waits and follows. You are a predator that does not act like a predator, said slowly. Exactly, and that is the most frightening kind. Later that day, saw proof of his words. He was walking to a meeting when he heard voices around a corner. He stopped and listened. I do not understand, a voice said. It sounded like, she does nothing, she carries nothing, she threatens nothing, but every time I see her, my body wants to run. It is the same for us, another voice answered. It was deeper, slower, probably when she looks at me, I feel like prey. I have not felt like prey since I was a child. The refused to be in the same room with her, a third voice added. It was high and clicking, one of the insect-like. They're hunters, the ones who have killed hundreds of creatures. They shake when she walks past. What is she? Demanded. What are humans, really? Silence. Then the spoke. I have heard stories, old stories from traders who have visited human space. They say humans used to hunt in a terrible way. They would choose an animal and follow it, not chase it, follow it, walk after it for days. The animal would run and run until it died from fear and exhaustion, and the human would just keep walking. That is impossible, said. No predator hunts like that. Humans do, they replied. Or they did. The instinct is still in them. You can see it in their eyes, that patience, that endless, horrible patience. They look at you like time does not matter, they added. Like they could wait forever. Like you are already dead and they are just waiting for your body to realize it. Made a sound of disgust. This is foolish. She is one small female. I could kill her in seconds. Then why do you not? They asked quietly. Silence again. Did not stay to hear more. He walked to the meeting room with new thoughts filling his head. He found already there, sitting in her usual corner. She was watching the alien delegates arrive, her dark eyes moving from face to face. She did not look dangerous. She did not look threatening. She looked like a small, ordinary woman. But now saw something else. He saw the stillness, the patience, the way her eyes tracked movement without blinking, the way she sat perfectly calm, perfectly relaxed, like someone who had all the time in the world. Like someone who could wait forever. A delegate entered the room. It was not but another male, larger and older. He saw and stopped. For just a moment his body tensed. His eyes widened. Then he forced himself to keep walking, choosing a seat as far from her as possible. Did not react, she just watched him go. Sat down next to her. "You know what you do to them," he said quietly. "Yes," said. "You do it on purpose." "Yes." "Why did Earth send you here alone, without weapons, without guards? Why?" Turned her patient eyes to him. "Because, Ambassador, sometimes the best way to show strength is to show none at all. The last human delegation came with soldiers and weapons. The aliens saw fear. They saw weakness pretending to be strength. They laughed. And now they see something they do not understand, something that does not fit their idea of prey or predator, something that walks calmly into a room full of killers and does not flinch." Lips curved in a small, quiet smile. "That scares them more than any weapon ever could." Looked around the room. He saw the aliens stealing glances at. He saw the tension in their bodies. He saw the fear they were trying to hide. And for the first time in 5 years on station, he felt safe. The attack came on the 7th day. Was in the main hall when the alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed across the ceiling. The alien delegates jumped to their feet, reaching for weapons that were not allowed inside the station. "What is happening?" shouted over the noise. Before anyone could answer, the doors at the far end of the hall exploded inward. Something large and fast came through the smoke, not one creature but 5. They were beasts, taken from a death world 3 systems away. Each one was the size of a small vehicle, with black skin, 6 legs and mouths full of teeth like broken glass. Beasts were used as weapons by criminal groups. They were impossible to control and afraid of nothing. They killed everything in their path until they were killed themselves. Someone had released them into the station. The hall erupted into chaos. Aliens screamed and ran. They tried to fight, swinging their 4 arms, but the beasts were too fast and too strong. One went down, his gray skin torn open. Then another. The scattered like leaves in a storm. The pulled into their shells, but the teeth could crack even that armor. Did not run. She stood in the center of the hall, completely still, as the chaos swirled around her. Delegates crashed into tables and knocked over chairs. Blood splattered the floor. The air filled with screams and growls and the wet sounds of tearing flesh. Grabbed her arm. "We have to go now." Did not move. "No. They will kill you." "No," said again. Her voice was calm, quiet. "They will not." 3 of the beasts finished with a fallen and turned toward the center of the hall. Their black eyes locked onto the only figure not running, the small human female standing alone. They charged. Felt his heart stop. He tried to pull away, but she shook off his hand like it was nothing. She took 1 step forward, toward the beasts, toward death. They covered the distance in seconds, 20 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters. And then they stopped. All 3 of them sliding to a halt on the metal floor. Their claws scraped and sparked. Their mouths hung open, showing rows of terrible teeth. But they did not attack. Looked at them, just looked. Her dark eyes met the black eyes of the lead beast. She did not blink, she did not flinch, she did not breathe faster, she just watched. The lead made a sound. It was not a growl or a roar. It was something smaller, something almost like a whine. Took another step forward. The beast stepped back. Watched with his mouth hanging open. Around him, the surviving aliens had stopped running. They were watching too, frozen in place by what they were seeing. Took another step, and another. Each step was slow and steady like a heartbeat, like the ticking of a clock, like footsteps following you through a dark forest, never getting faster, never stopping. The 3 beasts backed away with each step. Their bodies were tense. Their muscles trembled. These were creatures that had never retreated from anything, creatures bred to kill without mercy or fear, and they were afraid. The other 2 had been attacking aliens on the other side of the hall, but they sensed something wrong. They stopped their killing and turned toward. They saw their 3 packmates retreating from a single small creature. They did not understand. They charged. Stopped walking. She turned her head slowly, so slowly, to face the new threat. The two ran at her from the side, their 6 legs pounding the floor. She did not move. At the last moment, the beasts split apart. They ran past her on either side, close enough to touch, and kept running. They did not attack. They did not even slow down to snap at her. They just fled. All 5 beasts were now behind, grouped together near the broken door. They watched her with their black eyes. They made small sounds of distress. They did not attack. They did not advance. Turned around to face them. She took 1 step toward them. The beasts ran. They crashed through the broken door and disappeared into the corridors beyond. Their footsteps echoed for a few moments, then faded to nothing. The hall was silent. Looked around. Dead bodies lay on the floor too, several. Blood was everywhere. The survivors stood frozen, staring at. She had not touched the beasts. She had not threatened them. She had not made a single aggressive move. And they had run from her. Walked back to, her face was calm, her breathing even. It was as if nothing had happened. "We should help the wounded," she said. Tried to speak, but no words came out. He just nodded. Later, the station security team captured the beasts. They found them hiding in a storage area, pressed into corners, making sounds of fear. The security team had never seen act like this. Usually, capturing them meant losing several soldiers. This time, the beasts did not even try to fight. The attack had been planned by a group called the Red Circuit, criminals who wanted to disrupt the peace talks. They had expected the beasts to kill dozens of delegates and create chaos that would last for days. Instead, the attack had ended in minutes, because of 1 human. That night, found in her quarters, she was sitting by the window looking at the stars. He knocked on the open door. "May I come in?" Nodded. Sat down across from her. For a long moment he did not speak. Then he said, "I have seen many things in my life. I have seen wars. I have seen miracles. I have seen technology that seemed like magic. But I have never seen anything like what you did today." "I did not do anything," said. "You stopped 5 beasts, without weapons, without touching them. You just looked at them." Turned her eyes from the stars to. "They are predators, like the. They understand threat and danger in a deep, ancient way. When they looked at me, they saw something their instincts could not process." What did they see? They saw an animal that was not afraid, that was not running, that was walking toward them instead of away. Paused. In the wild, when prey walks toward a predator, it means one of 2 things. Either the prey is sick and wants to die, or the prey is not really prey at all. And they decided you were not prey. Their instincts decided for them. Millions of years of evolution telling them that something was wrong, that I was wrong, that I was something their ancestors learned to fear. Thought about this. But beasts are not from Earth. They could not have evolved to fear humans. No, agreed. But all predators share certain instincts. They understand body language. They read small signs that tell them if something is dangerous. The way I stood, the way I walked, the way I looked at them without fear. These things told their instincts that I was not worth the risk. "You were bluffing," said. "You had no way to hurt them, but you made them think you could." Smiled. It was a small, quiet smile. "I was not bluffing. I knew they would not attack me. Humans have faced predators for millions of years. We know how they think. We know how they see the world. And we know that the one thing a predator fears most is another predator that does not play by the rules." "A predator that walks instead of runs," said slowly. "A predator that does not chase but follows. A predator that can wait forever." "Yes," said. "That is what we are. That is what we have always been." Outside the window, the stars burned cold and bright. Somewhere in the station, 5 beasts huddled in their cages, refusing to eat, making sounds of fear. They had met something today that their instincts could not forget. They had met a human. The council meeting was called 3 days after the attack. Every species on station sent representatives. They gathered in the largest meeting hall, a circular room with seats rising in levels like a stadium. At the center was a round table where the main speakers would stand. Today, the topic was humans. The commander, a female named, stood first. She was older than, with scars across her gray skin from 100 battles. Her voice was strong, but noticed something new in her eyes, something uncertain. "We must discuss what happened," said. "The human female stopped the beasts. We all saw it. We do not understand how. We demand an explanation." The other species made sounds of agreement. The clicked their teeth. The rumbled deep in their shells. Even the silent moved their antennae in patterns that meant yes. Ambassador stood up. "The Earth Coalition is happy to explain. We have brought a scientist to answer your questions. Her name is. She studies human evolution and behavior." A door opened and walked in. She was a small woman, younger than, with short black hair and glasses that made her look like a student. She carried a small data pad and walked with quick, nervous steps. She looked nothing like a predator. She looked like someone who spent her life reading books. But the aliens watched her with the same careful attention they gave to. They had learned not to judge humans by appearance. Stood at the center table and bowed politely. "Thank you for allowing me to speak. I understand you have questions about humans, about what we are, about why your instincts react to us the way they do." "Yes," said. "Explain, what is your species?" Took a breath. "Humans are predators, but we are not predators like you." She touched her data pad, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed a planet, Earth, spinning slowly in space. "This is our home world. We evolved there over millions of years. The planet is difficult. It has hot deserts and frozen mountains. It has deep oceans and thick forests. The climate changes often. Many species have gone extinct because they could not adapt." "All worlds are difficult," said. "This does not explain anything." "I am getting there," said. "On Earth, humans were not the strongest species. We were not the fastest. We had no armor, no claws, no venom, no fangs. Compared to the other predators on our world, we were weak." A delegate laughed, a deep, rumbling sound. "Then how did you survive? On my world, the weak are eaten first." "We survived because we hunted in a different way," said. The hologram changed. It showed a group of early humans, small, thin creatures with brown skin and simple tools. They were following a large animal across a grassland. "This is called persistence hunting. It is how our ancestors caught food for millions of years. Watch." The hologram moved. The early humans walked after the animal, not running, walking. The animal saw them and ran away. It disappeared over a hill. The humans kept walking. The hologram jumped forward in time. The animal was resting in the shade. It looked tired. Then it saw the humans again, still walking toward it. It got up and ran again. The humans kept walking. Again and again the scene repeated. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. The animal ran and rested, ran and rested. Each time it was slower. Each time it was more tired. The humans never stopped. They never ran. They just walked, steady and patient, following the animal's trail. "Most animals cannot sweat," explained. "When they run, their bodies get hot. They have to stop and rest to cool down. But humans can sweat. We can walk and run for hours without overheating. So our ancestors followed their prey until it could not run anymore, until its body failed, until it collapsed from exhaustion." The hologram showed the final scene. The animal was lying on the ground, breathing hard, too tired to move. The early humans walked up to it calmly and killed it with their simple tools. "This is what humans are," said. "We are not ambush predators like you. We do not attack quickly and kill quickly. We follow. We wait. We let time do our killing for us." The room was very quiet. Spoke first. Her voice was different now, lower, more careful. "You are saying that your ancestors hunted by walking." "Yes." "They did not chase, they did not trap, they just followed." "Yes." "For how long?" sometimes hours, sometimes days. It depended on the prey. A delegate made a high-pitched sound of distress. Days. You followed animals for days. When necessary, said. Our ancestors were patient. They knew that eventually the prey would fall. It always did. Nothing could run from humans forever. The delegate had stopped laughing. His voice was quiet now. On my world, we have a name for things that hunt like that. We call them nightmares, stories told to children to make them behave. The nightmare is real, said. We are the nightmare. She touched her data pad again. New images appeared, brain scans, evolutionary diagrams, genetic maps. This hunting method shaped everything about us. Our bodies evolved to walk long distances. Our brains evolved to track and remember. Our eyes evolved to see small details, footprints, broken branches, disturbed grass. We became perfect followers, perfect trackers, perfect waiters. But you do not hunt like this anymore, said. You have technology now, ships and weapons. That is correct. We stopped persistence hunting thousands of years ago, but the instincts are still there, in our bodies, in our minds, in the way we look at the world. Paused. When stood in front of those beasts, she was not consciously using these instincts. She did not have to. They are part of who she is, part of who all humans are. And the beasts recognized it, added from his seat. Their instincts told them what she was. Yes, said. All predator species have similar instincts. They can sense danger in ways that go beyond thought. When they look at any human, they see something their instincts cannot understand. A predator that does not act like a predator. That does not chase or attack. That just watches and waits. And follows, the delegate said quietly. Yes, and follows, forever if necessary. Was standing very still. Her forearms were pressed close to her body. This is why we feel fear when we see her. This is why our bodies want to run. Your ancestors learned to fear things like us, said. Not humans specifically. We never met your species before, but predators like us. Predators that did not play by the normal rules. Predators that could not be escaped, could not be outrun, could not be tired out. Your instincts remember that fear, even if your conscious mind does not understand it. The room was silent for a long moment. Then the delegate asked, Can you turn this off? Can you stop being what you are? Shook her head. No, we cannot change our evolution. We cannot remove instincts that have been part of us for millions of years. We are what we are. And what is that? Asked. Her voice was very quiet now, almost a whisper. Looked around the room at the predators of a dozen worlds. The hunters, the killers, the species that had climbed to the top of their food chains through strength and speed and violence. We are the thing that follows, she said. We are the footsteps behind you that never stop. We are the patient ones, the waiting ones. We do not need to be faster than you. We do not need to be stronger than you. We just need to keep walking. She paused. And we always keep walking. In the seats around the room, the galaxy's greatest predators sat in silence. They did not argue. They did not question. They did not challenge. They just sat there, feeling something they had not felt in a very long time. Fear. The peace talks ended 2 weeks later. Every species signed the agreement. Every delegate agreed to the terms. For the first time in 100 years, the galaxy's major powers had found common ground. The wars would stop. The borders would be respected. Trade would flow freely between worlds. It was a miracle of diplomacy, and everyone knew who was responsible. On the final day, the station held a celebration. Delegates from every species gathered in the main hall, the same hall where the beasts had attacked. The blood had been cleaned away. The broken furniture had been replaced, but the memory remained. Stood near the window, watching the stars. She wore the same simple gray uniform she had worn on the first day. No medals, no special clothes, nothing to mark her as important. Ambassador stood beside her. You should be at the center of the room. Everyone wants to thank you. I did not do anything, said. The diplomats made the agreement, I just watched. Smiled. You know that is not true. Before you came, these negotiations were failing. They were threatening war. They were refusing to talk. They were demanding territory. Nothing was working. And now? Now they are afraid to disagree with anything Earth proposes. Not because we threatened them. Not because we showed strength. But because of you. Because of what you represent. Looked at her reflection in the window. A small woman, thin, unremarkable, nothing special. I am just one person, she said. Yes, but you are human, and now they know what that means. A sound came from behind them, footsteps heavy, familiar. Turned, the commander was walking toward her. The crowd parted to let her through. No one wanted to be between and a human, not anymore. Stopped a few meters away. She stood tall, her gray skin marked with old scars, her 4 arms folded across her chest. Her eyes were fixed on. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then said, I have commanded warriors for 40 years. I have fought in 12 wars. I have killed more enemies than I can count. I have never been afraid of anything. Waited. But you frighten me, continued. When I look at you, something inside me wants to run. Something old, something I cannot control. I hate this feeling. It makes me angry. I am sorry, said. No, do not apologize. His voice was hard, but her eyes told a different story. I came here to say something important, something that is difficult for her to say. She unfolded her arms and took a step forward, then another. She stopped directly in front of, close enough to touch. You have earned my respect, said. Not because you are strong, not because you won any battle, but because you showed me something I did not believe was possible. You showed me that there is more than one way to be a predator, and your way is terrifying. Looked up at the commander. She had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. The size difference was almost funny, could have broken in half with one arm. But they both knew who the real predator was. I accept your respect, said, and I offer mine in return. They are mighty hunters. Your people have survived many challenges. We are not enemies. No, agreed. We are not, and after today I do not think we ever will be. She paused. No one wants humans as enemies, not anymore. She stepped back and made a gesture with her 4 arms, a sign of honor. Then she turned and walked away into the crowd. Let out a breath he did not know he was holding. That was unexpected. The value strength, said. They saw what they thought was weakness and found something else. It confused them, but now they understand. Understand what? Watched disappear into the crowd. That armor and weapons are not the only kind of strength. That silence can be louder than screaming. That stillness can be more frightening than violence. She turned back to the window and the stars beyond. Humans learned these lessons a long time ago, on a dangerous planet surrounded by predators stronger and faster than us. We learned that the hunt is not always about speed. It is about patience, about endurance, about the will to keep going when everything else has stopped. Thought about this. Is that why Earth sent you alone, to teach them this lesson? Smiled. It was a soft smile, barely visible. Earth sent me because they knew what would happen. They knew that the aliens would see a small woman with no weapons and think she was weak. They knew the predators would circle and test and threaten. And they knew that, eventually, those predators would understand the truth. What truth? Turned to face him, her dark eyes were calm, patient, ancient. That we do not need armor, she said. We never did. Armor is for species that need protection, that fear being hurt, that cannot take damage and keep going. She touched the window with her fingertips. The glass was cold. Humans can take damage. We can be hurt, wounded, broken, but we keep going, we keep walking, we keep following. That is our strength, not weapons, not armor, just the ability to never stop. Looked at her for a long moment. Then he asked the question that had been bothering him since the day she arrived. Are you ever afraid? Considered the question. Yes, sometimes. I was afraid when the beasts charged at me. I was afraid when confronted me on the first day. Fear is natural, it is healthy, it keeps us alive. But you did not show it. No, I did not show it, because showing fear to a predator invites attack. Every human knows this. Every human feels fear, but we have learned to hide it, to push it down, to keep our faces calm and our eyes steady while our hearts beat fast. She looked out at the stars again. That is perhaps the scariest thing about us. Not that we have no fear, but that we have fear and act like we do not. We are afraid and we walk toward the danger anyway. We are hurt and we keep moving anyway. We are tired and we refuse to stop anyway. Nodded slowly. You are saying humans are stubborn. Laughed. It was a quiet laugh but genuine. Yes, very stubborn. The most stubborn species in the galaxy. We refuse to die when evolution said we should. We refuse to stay on one planet when physics said it was too hard. We refuse to be prey when every predator said we were weak. She turned from the window and looked at the celebration. Aliens of every species were talking, eating, drinking together. Peace had been made. The galaxy was changing. And now, said, we refuse to be ignored. We walk into rooms full of monsters and we do not flinch. We stand before killers and we do not run. We have no armor, make no noise, carry no weapons. Her eyes swept across the room, meeting the gazes of predators who quickly looked away. But every predator in the galaxy knows what we are. Every instinct they have screams at them when they see us. They cannot explain it. They cannot fight it. They can only accept it. She smiled again, that soft, patient smile. We are human. We are the thing that follows, and we will never ever stop. Outside the station, the stars burned cold and eternal. Ships came and went, carrying news of the peace agreement to distant worlds. On 100 planets, 100 species heard the stories and felt something strange. A fear they could not name, a chill they could not explain. Somewhere in the galaxy, a new predator had arrived. A predator with no claws, no fangs, no armor. A predator that did not roar or charge or attack. A predator that simply walked and watched and waited. And followed. Forever,